Biologist Dr. Bruce Lipton states, "The moment you change your perception is the moment you rewrite the chemistry of your body." This sentiment was very easily reinforced by motivational speaker and author Wayne Dyer, who says, "When you change the way you see things, the way you see things changes." As humans, we all have universal experiences of conditioning, subliminal messages, and programs that shape us into who we are starting from a young age. Some of these universal messages might look like, don't talk to strangers, they're dangerous. Look both ways when you cross the street. Treat others the way that you desire to be treated. That one's my personal favorite. That started in kindergarten. Don't lie because it's bad and wrong. On and on. So those of you who are here in this room, please show me, raise of hands, who resonates with at least one of these principles that you've learned in this society at some point in time. Great, thank you for being with me, amazing. So today we are going to venture into a tour of the subconscious. And I'm going to, in a very privileged manner, be your tour guide. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce myself and also express immense gratitude for being on this stage here today with all of these phenomenal women. So my name is Paige Frisone. I am a subconscious health practitioner. I'm a professional writer, a published author, and an award-winning international speaker. I aid men and women around the globe in processing the trauma that lives in the subconscious mind that is signaling present-day stress. People who struggle with addiction, depression, anxiety, and trauma of all kinds are all coming from past parts of us. And they're living in an invisible part of the brain that needs to be brought to the visible. So to do this, I implement a comprehensive emotional processing system that uses over 14 modalities from Eastern and Western medicine combined to locate the exact memories, sensations, and emotions that are trapped under the surface below conscious awareness. So while it seems as though those societal messages are not that big of a deal at first, they unite all of us because the subconscious is all interconnected. And while we perceive that it's not a big deal, it informs the way that we show up in the world. Our perception is not truth. What we believe is what we perceive. So I'd like to actually slow things down and tease apart one statistic. And to preface this, I'd like to name very honestly that math and I are not friends. We never have been, we never will be. And I remember being in school as a kid, struggling through geometry and trigonometry and algebra. And I worked so hard to try and fit myself into this logical world in a seemingly illogical way. I struggled to learn and remember and understand what was happening on the page, in the textbooks, under the fluorescent lights, in an environment that seemed very hostile for my sensitivity. And I suppressed my truth to perform. You see, I was a non-negotiable 4.0 GPA perfectionist, and it wasn't my brand as a kid to not have a perfect relationship with math. So when it came to working to push and conform to this seemingly confusing world, I didn't realize at the time that in my pursuit to get it right, I was telling my body I was innately wrong. And I didn't know that I was signaling the cells in my system to believe a certain program because it wasn't conscious. And the questions that I kept asking myself at that time were, why? Why can't I just get it? What's wrong with me? And the wounds at the bottom of that story of I hate math, I have performance anxiety, this is not how my brain works, were actually inadequacy, unworthy, feeling completely incapable. Those emotions are the program. It's not about the math at all. It's about what the trigger does to you in your environments, to the internal cellular environment, to the external cellular environment, to the internal physical environment, to the external physical environment. Emotional inside, emotional outside. We are broadcasting signals. We are vehicles that are constantly picking up trillions and trillions of data, memories every few seconds. And we have trillions and trillions of cells that are receiving and projecting and receiving and projecting. And because it's invisible, we don't see the impact on our health in present day. And so if we don't get to the root of the memory of when we first felt that way, anxious, depressed, suicidal, I don't belong here, I hate myself, I hate my body, whatever the beliefs are subjectively programmed. And so I lost my life to this struggle. And it didn't start in math. Those stories of unworthiness began long before that, and they were reinforced long after that, and they showed up in relationship, and they showed up in school, and they showed up in my mind, and they showed up in my body. And I'm still, 30 years later, healing from that. And we all are, whether we know it or not. You don't have to know what the issue is to actually be expressing the issue. Psychologist Carl Jung says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And to that I say, don't let it be fate. Don't settle for people's conditioning, for societal programs, for the thoughts you think because they're not yours. So back to statistics. Here's the one that changed my life. 95% of your life experiences are involuntary. The thoughts you think, the feelings you feel, the way that you show up relationally through people-pleasing, self-abandonment, judgment, comparison, criticism. Those aren't choices. And what's not a choice is a reaction. The things you are choosing, let me level up my business, let me show up with power today, let me work on absolutely crushing my fitness routine or my lunch break or whatever it is that you want to achieve, those are conscious choices. Those are actions. But it's only 5%. So you can give 100% to that 5%, but it's still 5%. So the eye can only see what's at the tip of the iceberg, the 5%. And when we go into therapy and we go into processing methods, we're talking and talking and talking about the things that we know. What about the things that we don't know? What about how the things that we don't know impact the things that we do know? Why are we not addressing the 95%? So in math, when I'm asking myself, why can't I get this? What's wrong with me? Those were the questions that stayed with me throughout the rest of my life. They stayed with me when it came to losing a decade of my life to anorexia, depression, anxiety, self-harm, ineffective prescription medication. Those questions came to me when I struggled for 20 years to reclaim repressed memories that I didn't even know were living there. I knew they were there because I had no chronological memory of what had happened in my life. I had pockets of color surrounded by black. I felt my life was like a kaleidoscope. It was just very blotchy. And I was subject to other people's misperceptions of me back then as a kid. And I couldn't confirm or deny what had happened, leaving me completely powerless and without agency. So here I am being asked this question by my therapists when I was a kid, starting age 7, all the way into my late 20s in treatment. Therapists are like, something's not making sense here, which is their job. That's fair. It's a good question. But they asked it as if I hadn't spent every second of every day asking myself the same question. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I can't eat. I don't know why it's so hard to be on the planet right now. If I had the answer, I would tell you. And I'm really smart. And we're all freaking smart. We're smart in the ways we choose to survive, and we're smart in the ways we don't choose to survive. One of them's conscious, one of them's not. Until we bring the 95% below the surface to the 5%, we can't create a life that we desire to live. The psychiatrist asked me, what's going on here? What's wrong with you? I was on antidepressants, mood stabilizers. I was on thyroid medication for no justifiable reason. And I was treating side effects and byproducts of things with more pills. And I lived to find worth in the hospitals and in the doctor's offices and in the therapy places because I thought they loved me. I had to earn that. I had to pay for it. I thought they cared. That was a program. That was a condition that the Western medical treatment system can help you. And I had to learn after being in and out the door and in and out the door and in and out the door for 10 years of my life that I was only getting worse and that nobody was coming to save me, especially not the ones I was told could help. So I started asking different questions, not what's wrong with me, why don't I get it? What's going on here with the system? Why am I a casualty all of a sudden? Why am I a medical enigma? Why am I becoming this guinea pig experiment? How do I get out of this? Can I get out of this? So I stopped the pills and I bet on myself. And I said, no one's coming to save me. I'm coming. So I allowed my body to recalibrate the way it's designed. And that system is good for ambulatory care. It's good for acute critical crisis. It's good for emergency. It's what it was designed for. Not for long-term medication. Not for a reliance on a system that's broken. Not for helping you not see your power. We are designed to heal, no matter what. We are designed to regenerate. There's a quote that says, the power that made the body heals the body. True for everyone, non-negotiable. That's a fact. Whatever gets in the way of that is the work. I'm so passionate about helping people understand that it's about upping your standard for life so that you don't tolerate one negative thought anymore without intervening, so that you don't believe everything you think or feel, so that you start being more discerning about your environmental influences and how the inside informs the outside, how the outside informs the inside, because you can shift it sustainably so that you don't have to go back to the doctor, so that you don't have to rely on broken systems. And so it is my mission now. I have learned through personal, professional, and academic experience that I'm not just here to fill the gaps in this broken system by bringing subconscious education and emotional processing to this conscious kind of top-down model, but I'm here to build new. I'm here to co-create with the trailblazers and the pathfinders and the leading edge medical and non-medical practitioners who understand you're here to heal. Non-negotiable. And I'm here to help you prove it, because my belief in you is only going to get us so far. Your beliefs in you come from somewhere else, and that's where we got to go. We got to get to the root of why you feel that way, whether from present lifetime, past lifetimes, or generations, and we can upgrade that exact cellular charge so that you're not actually having those thoughts anymore, so you're not having those feelings anymore. So I will leave you with this today. We'll see how this flows. It's a passage. I'm a writer. I love quotes. I love lyrics. I love poems. And it's by Dr. Melissa Sell, who calls herself a biological woman, a radical health advocate. And she infuses German New Medicine into her work. And there's so many different modes of subconscious healing. I do a very comprehensive practice, but there are so many other types as well. And I really appreciate her work. She says, it's not the gluten. It's not the cheese. It's not the germ. It's not the sneeze. It's not the chemicals in the Febreze. It's not the grease. It's not the dirt. It's not the detergent on your shirt. It's not the toxins. It's not the mold. It is the conflict in your soul. It is the unresolved problem, the source of distress. It is the situation that disturbs your rest. Your symptom is an invitation to find a solution. It's a call for growth, for personal evolution. It's time to get quiet, self-reflect, contemplate. Only you know the shift that will release this weight. Trust yourself, trust your body, and listen to innate. For more information about subconscious healing with me or any of my other services, please feel free to find me innerrealmwellness.life. Thank you so much.